Hello, church. So here's our daily devotional for Tuesday, July 29th. Um, we're going to start out on a little bit of a tangent because some of you know I've been using OpenAI to do translation of some of the works of Caspar Schwenkfeld von Ossig from the Corpus Schwenkfeldianorum. Great thanks to Dave Luz because he's been doing some pretty refined reading of one of the pieces I've done recently that was translated by Fred Grader, but wanted to update. Uh, we've really been back and forth on what to call what it's making because it's not a word for word translation. Right now we're playing around with modern paraphrase um, because we're trying to bring it into contemporary language and make it more accessible. Dave has also referred to it as simplified Schwenkfeld, which I do not take offensively by any means because I think we're trying to make it for a general audience and more understandable. But it does, to a degree, parallel what I appreciate from the message, which Dave Luz refers to as the hillbilly version that I use. Oh, and so the late Eugene Peterson, had shared a little bit in his introduction to the message that I think still speaks to us today, and I want to share that before getting into our second part of Psalm 94, because it's just some insightful and good stuff. This will be a little long. A striking feature in all this writing is that it was done in the street language of the day, and he's talking about the New Testament, the idiom of the playground and the marketplace. In the Greek-speaking world of that day, there were two levels of language, formal and informal. And you can think in our setting about a more scholarly work that's not going to be accessible to general population. Formal language was used to write philosophy and history, government decrees, and epic poetry. If someone were to sit down and consciously write for posterity, it would of course be written in this formal language with its learned vocabulary and precise diction. But if the writing was routine, shopping lists, family letters, bills, and receipts, it was written in the common, informal idiom of everyday speech, street language. And this is the language used throughout the New Testament. Some people are taken aback by this, supposing that language dealing with a holy God and holy things should be elevated, stately, and ceremonial. But one good look at Jesus, his preference for down-to-earth stories and easy association with common people, gets rid of that supposition. For Jesus is the descent of God to our lives just as they are, not the ascent of our lives to God, hoping he might approve when he sees how hard we try. And that is why the followers of Jesus in their witness and preaching, translating and teaching have always done their best to get the message, the good news, into the language of whatever streets they happen to be living on. In order to understand the message right, the language must be right. Not a refined language that appeals to our aspirations after the best, but a rough and earthy language that reveals God's presence in action where we least expect it, catching us when we were up to our elbows in the soiled ordinariness of our lives, and God is the furthest thing from our minds. This version of the New Testament, in a contemporary idiom, keeps the language of the message current and fresh and understandable in the same language in which we do our shopping, talk with our friends, worry about world affairs, and teach our children their table manners. The goal is not to render a word-for-word conversion of Greek into English, but rather to convert the tone, the rhythm, the events, the ideas into the way we actually think and speak. I don't show my word nerdiness a whole lot, but yeah, sometimes I have to let that come out, and just some beautiful stuff from Peterson. Now, we finished up Psalm 94 today. We had this very direct, and Peterson used the word idiots in the message as God is confronting injustice. We get a little bit of a softer turn with the psalm today, which might be felt as a happy reprieve after some very harsh critiques of God's vengeance. Happy are those whom you discipline, O Lord, and whom you teach out of your law, giving them respite from days of trouble until a pit is dug for the wicked. For the Lord will not forsake his people, he will not abandon his heritage, for justice will return to the righteous, and all the upright in heart will follow it. Who rises for me against the wicked? Who stands up for me against evildoers? If the Lord had not been my help, my soul would soon have lived in the land of silence. When I thought, my foot is slipping, your steadfast love, O Lord, held me up. When the cares of my heart are many, your consolations cheer my soul. Can wicked rulers be allied with you? Those who contrive mischief by statute? They band together against the life of the righteous and condemn the innocent to death. But the Lord has become my stronghold and my God, the rock of my refuge. He will repay them for their iniquity and wipe them out for their wickedness. The Lord our God will wipe them out. Woo! I think that might be the first woo I got from the New Revised Standard Version since we've been doing this. Can you believe it's almost the end of July? Good gravy. All right, and a little bit more from Peterson. I'm sorry, a little bit more from James Mays in his commentary entitled "Vengeance is Mine." This was a good bit too that I appreciated because he really uplifts a pastoral perspective in approaching the psalm. The psalmist is confident that his prayer conforms to the will of God. What he prays for is anchored in the very character of the Lord. It is impossible that the judge of the earth should be in league with the earthly throne of injustice. The wicked have no future except the consequences of their own evil. God will see to it that they are eliminated through their own wickedness. It is just a matter of time because the Lord is coming to judge the earth. So the prayer is both petition for the community that suffers injustice and assurance to them in their tribulation. Notice the corporate, our God, at the end. And praying within and for his community, the psalmist finds ways in his prayer to instruct and nurture the faithful while the days of trouble go on. The psalmist is teacher as well as intercessor for the people of God. This intercessor and teacher had a ministry different from that of the prophets who spoke the Lord's message of judgment upon the officials and rich who oppressed the lowly and helpless. The problem of prophet and psalmist was the same, injustice that afflicted the people of the Lord. But the psalmist had a pastoral calling to encourage and support the discouraged and hurt in their life as the people of God. He did not summon them to hatred and violent revenge. Instead, he prayed for the vengeance of the Lord, and in his prayer, he taught them that vengeance belongs to the Lord. Let me repeat that line. He did not summon them to hatred and violent revenge. Instead, he prayed for the vengeance of the Lord, and in his prayer, he taught them that vengeance belongs to the Lord. Woo! Good reminder for us all. And here we go with the message. How blessed the man you train, God, the woman you instruct in your word, providing a circle of quiet within the clamor of evil, while a jail is being built for the wicked. God will never walk away from his people, never desert his precious people. Rest assured that justice is on its way, and every good heart put right. Who stood up for me against the wicked? Who took my side against evil workers? If God hadn't been there for me, I never would have made it. The minute I said, I'm slipping, I'm falling, your love, God, took hold and held me fast. When I was upset and beside myself, you calmed me down and cheered me up. Can misrule have anything in common with you? Can troublemaker pretend to be on your side? They ganged up on good people, plotted behind the backs of the innocent. but God became my hideout. God was my high mountain retreat. Then boomerang their evil back on them. For their evil ways he wiped them out. Our God cleaned them out for good. Alrighty, so Nick and I are going to be heading down to North Carolina for a week. We will be back with you for a devotional. I'll be back in the office on Thursday. I'll probably get back into Psalm 95 as we start the following week, but we'll see if I need to, if I'm feeling like I need to get some days in there while I'm away a little bit from our devotional time. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side. You can be watching for some of those pieces, which I entitle Rediscovering Schwenkfeld. Those are getting ready to go out. We have a few corrections from Dave that I want to include and incorporate, and look forward to sharing that with you. Have a great one.